Hi, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do another rock, keepsake rock. Now we're doing these for Christmas, but of course you can do these for any time of the year, any special occasion, birthday, or fun day. I've had this rock around for a while, so it doesn't sit flat. As let's see, this one sits really flat. It's flat. Some rocks, especially the larger ones, they will sit up, which makes it really nice to make a 3D rock or 3D painting that you can see from across the room. They're really nice, and you can set them around the house, especially during Christmas or Easter. It makes it really fun. So I'm going to go with this rock because it is a weird shape, but I'm going to paint my snowman on here and it'll come around the rock. So you'll be able to see it come around the rock this way. The only paints I'm going to need are the white and the black, and then maybe a little orange for its nose. I'm not going to paint the whole rock. This is a darker rock, and I like to paint lighter objects on dark rocks because they stand out so much. Now some paints, in the case of yellow, doesn't tend to show up so well because it's really translucent. And in that case, if you're painting something with that, you want to use white. It's so weird, but paint every area that you want to paint yellow. Paint it white first, and once that dries, come back over with the yellow. So with this, we're just going to do a snowman because it's the season, and I'll try not to get carried away. You'll need your paints, and you need a small paintbrush because you're painting on a smaller surface. Now I have a small rock because I have a ton of these projects everywhere. I have to find someone to give them to, and I don't have any place to store anymore. I just keep some as samples and get rid of the rest of them. So you'll need your paints, and this paint is acrylic based paint because it shows up better than the tempera, and it's not toxic, so it is safe for children, but it has a better covering capability, which is opacity, which means it's opaque. It's kind of solid when you look at it, and of course it doesn't get you all frustrated. So if I'm frustrated painting with the tempera, I'm pretty sure the kids will be frustrated painting with it also, because you're painting with it and your objects are not showing up. So here we go. Now I'm going to enlarge this as I go. So he needs a little head here. And you can get this sort of roundish. And the reason being is because when we look at it, the snowman is round, but he's not perfectly round. And I'm going to put, that's his head, I'm going to put a hat on him, and I'm going to put his body. He can be 3 tall or 2 tall. It's up to you. 2 tall, haha. That's my joke for the year. He can be 2 circles tall or 3 circles tall. I'm not going to make, well, he does need to be 3 circles tall. Sorry about that, you guys. There, the next circle is always bigger than the first one. And by the way, this circle, this top one, has to be big enough for you to put his eyes and his nose on. There it is. See if you can see that. You can see the paintbrush marks in there. That's okay. We're going to come back over with some more paint. And now this bottom one has to be bigger than that one. And it's not a complete circle. Circular at the top. So I have 3, and then he's sort of smushed here on the bottom. So the bottom doesn't need to be flat. Excuse me, the bottom can be somewhat flat. I'm going to show you that. There it is there. And I'm going to bring the snow up on the side. So the bottom isn't round. Don't worry about that bottom being round. It's really not a full circle because he's smushed on the ground. I want you to be able to see that without dropping it like I did the other one. So you see, he has his three bodies, three parts for his body. And what I'm going to do is stop right there, and I'm going to, he gets a hat on, but you're not going to see that black hat so well. So I'm going to take a little bit of blue paint and put to the side. And then I'm going to use a lot of white paint. Let me move that so you can see what I'm doing. I want you to be able to see what I'm mixing and doing in the camera. See, I have a little bit of blue. I'm not going to use all that blue. I just put that out there, but I have a lot of white. And then I'm going to tap the tip of my brush, wiggle it around in that blue, and bring that back over to the white. And see, it gives me a really pale blue, so get a little blue on the tip of the brush. I want to really, they call it a powder blue or a baby blue. And that's what I'm going to use up here. I'm going to turn this rock upside down and make little squiggles. Now the reason I'm making little squiggles is so it'll look like the wind is blowing. And then I'll put a little over here on the ground. Not much. And see what that did? I have to turn it upside down again. Sorry about that. See what it did? That's where the hat's going to go, right there. So it's okay. Flip it upside down a little bit. Now the hat on top will show up. It'll break up that wind. That's like wind. So the hat isn't very big now. We're going to put a little square on the top, go right over his head. That's that top square we put in there, and then paint that in. So it's just a square up there. That's all you're putting for his hat. And then I dip back into the black paint, and then I draw a line right under the hat at the top of the head. And that's all you need for his hat. It's a square with a line under it. So see how it shows up now that I have something. You have to have something for it to show up. The light colors only, well, they'll show up, but not so well. But light colors show up better on a dark background. And a dark color shows up better on a light background. So we want the snowman himself to pop. So we're adding all of the other stuff. We're going to do another layer of snow on him. Although he doesn't really need it, you want some of that dark rock to show through so that your snowman doesn't look flat. But that'll work how that is. Now let's see, because it looks like I already have my stuff on there, but I haven't done it. So I'm going to put 2 eyeballs. You want to turn it around so you can see. Put 2 eyeballs on there. 1 dot, 2 dot. And he's got that nose right there. Usually the nose is a carrot, so we're not going to put that there. We're going to get us a little orange and put that there. And just put a couple of dots for really, you can use the, that's the best thing. Let me show you that trick. If you use the tip of your paintbrush, it makes the dots for you. Much better than the paintbrush itself, because the paintbrush has a tendency to spread. So I'm using the tip of the paintbrush. I dipped it in some paint, and now I'm just going to go dot, dot, really lightly. And that's his mouth. So I want to give him a little bit more paint on his body, and that's what I'm going to do. That's that paint right there. So I'm going to dip it in there and paint over his body again. And remember, again, tap it in, tap the paint in, and it'll give his little body some texture. I live in a warm state. We don't get snow here except on weird occasions. And when we do, the snow is not, it's not enough snow that it will last. I'm just adding more snow to the ground because I have it on the brush. Now, I don't have much paint. This is what I'm going to do. I don't have much, I don't have a brown to use as a stick for his arm, so I'm going to put this little blue color there. And put it there to make it look like, I'm going to come back over it with a brown color, and I'm going to tell you what you do. It's a trick to it. So we're going to give him some buttons on his little body, just at the top, that middle section only. So I'm going to dip the handle of the paintbrush into just the very tip of it, into the black paint, and I'm going to dot it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he has some clothes now. Look at that. And wipe that off your paintbrush. He has a little button nose. And if you grab one of these little paint strips, you don't have any orange. So I'm going to tell you how to do that. You're going to take your yellow and just a touch of the red to get you some orange. All you need is a touch. That red will turn that yellow when it mixes with it. Remember, yellow and blue make green. Red and yellow make orange. And now we're just painting him a little nose, which looks like a little triangle, but it's not going to be much, so just put a line out. That's his nose. And if you want brown sticks for his body, we'll do this. Take a little green, wipe off your brush so you don't contaminate your paint, and take a little red. Red and green will give you a brown. Sorry about that. You got a little red here and a little green, and we're going to mix it here to give you a brown. They're complementary colors, so they'll give you a brown. And we'll just put it, I'm going to lay it right on top of. And that's why we put that sky color on there. I'm not completely covering where I got the stick at, because if you completely cover it, then it won't show up so well. And if he just has to have a scarf, you can come back over. I'm going to take this blue we have laying here and mix it in with that. Only to give him a color that looks a little cheery, and just drape it around his neck. And then let the wind blow it off to the side. And that's it. And now let it dry because it's super wet. Let it dry, but you have your snowman. All right, so here is the finished product. It's showing up pretty good. All the way down to the bottom. And that's what he looks like. I hope you had fun making this. Until next time.